This is a Starbucks Barista espresso machine from the 90s. Maybe it was state of the art, but it sure isn't now. But it still works great. There's just lots of little tricks and tips to get a good cup of espresso. So I will show you all of them. First thing is, you can fill this thing from the top with water, but it's really slow. You got to take a pitcher and pour it in. I find it annoying, so I just take the whole water tank out, and then I fill it with water from the sink. Then you slide it in. This tube here that I'm showing you, that has to sit all the way on the bottom. So make sure that tube goes all the way to the bottom of this tank, and it is sitting there. Worth mentioning, when you're done making the coffee, you want to empty this tank out and dry it. If you leave the water in there for weeks and weeks, it will smell like a swamp. Trust me. Okay, so we got this little tray here. Astute viewers may notice that I do not have the little drawer that goes under here. It's supposed to be like this and sit like that. It didn't come with a drawer, and I can't find it online, so I'm stuck with that. Okay, finally, this is the filter brewing unit. And again, when you're done making coffee, you definitely want to separate these out and clean them well. And then, but now we're putting them together. There you go. And this goes in here. Another thing about this unit, plugging it in now. The power button, if you can see it, might be a little hard to see. It's turning orange, but that orange will show even if it's not plugged in. So sometimes you'll think you're heating everything up, and then you realize that you didn't plug it in. So plug it in, and then turn this on, and then you are waiting for this green ready light to come on. There, that green ready light. In the meantime, so step one is you want to make sure the pump is primed, and the best way to do that is to run water from, it's a little hard to see, this is the steam wand. You want to run water from that through the steam wand, and that will prime the pump. So what I do is, at the same time, I use that water to warm a glass. So once the green light comes on, then we will run the water through the glass. The magical green light is on. Ta-da! So like I said, we take this cup, got the steam wand, a little hard to see maybe, but here it is, and I've got it over to the side. And I'm now going to fill this coffee cup with water. All right, 1 cup filled with water. If you want the second cup to be as warm as possible, you can wait for the green light to come back on, and then do the same thing again with your second cup. I tend to make 2 cups, so that's the process I will show you today. So the green light's not on, but it's okay. It's still pretty hot. Okay, now I've got 2 cups warmed up. The pump is primed. The next step, I'm going to move the wand back over. You can see it was on the side. Now it's here, sitting over this, because it will, and the reason I do that is it drips, and you don't want it dripping all over your counter. So, wand's now sitting over this thing, and I'm going to put it in steam mode, steam button. This button here says steam, and this little green thing will come on. Again, looks like a light. It's not. I think it's like a piece of paper or something. But as long as it's plugged in, it's all going to work. So now we wait for the green light to come on again, and then we know it's ready to steam. And this generally takes a few minutes. Patience is important in this process. If you're hoping to make a quick cup of espresso, look elsewhere, but it is good. We got this machine in a local thrift store for cheap, and I think they're out there. So if you can find one for cheap, they're built like tanks. It probably still works. Okay, green light is on. So what I find is if you need to blow the water out of the system. Because when I turn it on, it doesn't come out as steam, it comes out as water. So if you don't do this step, blow out the water, you'll be shoving water into your drink. That's not nice. So here, I turn it on. Let it run a bit. And now, you can see it's all steamy. The next step is, I've got this little milk thingy. It's about half full of milk. I'm using oat milk. Use any milk you want. Cow milk steams the easiest, but this oat milk, you can steam almost anything if you're patient enough, but I'll show you. I also have a thermometer. It's pretty important because you don't want to overheat the milk, and it's really hard to know if you're doing that without a thermometer. So get yourself a thermometer. Oat milk when overheated is even worse than the other milk, so it tends to separate. Yuck. So you really don't want it to go, you want it to get into the green, so it's hot, but not into the red. And if you're not careful, it'll kind of float up into the red when you're done. So just as soon as it gets in the green, you should be stopping. Okay, so now, the trick is, and it's going to be hard to see this, I may make a separate video on this, is you want to angle the milk pitcher a little bit, and you want the wand going into the milk enough so that it's foaming it. If you don't go in enough, it just kind of bubbles it, like a kid blowing bubbles in milk. If you don't go in far enough, and you're going too far, you're just warming the milk up without foaming it. So what you do is, you get it just a little bit in there, and then you turn it on, and you kind of move it up and down. That's too much bubbling. That's nothing. So I look for that spot where it's just going to bubble, and it's really obvious once you see it. It's really different because when you have it right, it's not bubbling, it's just foaming. You're making the microfoam, and you just keep an eye on it. Like I say, if you move too far out, it bubbles, too far in, it won't do anything. So just look for that sweet spot. And then as it foams up, you got to keep moving up because the level of the liquid is rising, so you have to rise with it. So you're just trying to keep it in that foamy sweet spot. And it just takes patience. When I first started this was very difficult. I looked online at different directions and I couldn't really figure it out. So it's just finding that sweet spot and just riding it up. Okay, it's almost in the green. The goal is to get it foamed to the very top before it hits the red. It's a race. See, can you get it fully foamed? Okay. So you can see I foamed it. I was halfway full, Now it's foamed almost to the top. If your foam hits the top and you haven't hit the green yet on the thermometer, then put the wand all the way in to just warm the milk, because you want to get the milk as hot as you can. That doesn't usually happen, but sometimes it does. Okay, so this wand, one sec. It's really easy, much easier to clean if you do it right away. If you let the milk, you gotta wipe it with a wet cloth. If you let the milk dry on there, it's really a pain. And then once I wipe it, I do a little, just to blow it through, make sure there's no milk left on the tip of the wand. And now we have steamed milk. Next step is we want to, now the water in here is now too hot. We want to cool that water down. And we also want to make sure that the whole flow through the coffee filter is clean. So I have these espresso shot glasses, and I put them underneath where the coffee comes out. There's no coffee in there yet, but I'm going to hit the brew button. Let it run. Takes a bit, and there we go. See, but it's not running well at first. This can happen sometimes, since the pump isn't primed. Usually it'll fix itself if you let it run. If it doesn't, what you can do is, looks like it's having a little problem here, run this. Run the water through the wand again, which to prime the pump. See if you can get it going. This is really a problem with these units. The pump tends to lose its prime and get clogged. Right now, it's definitely lost its prime. So I'm going to do, well, I'm kind of glad this is happening. Oh! Wow. Well, that was quite something. It was really under pressure. Woo! Don't try that at home. Something's definitely wrong. I think I'm going to take these glasses out of here. This is turning into a more interesting video than I thought. And I'm going to, actually I just took it out, release the pressure, and try again. See what's happening. Nope. Okay. I'll make the same mistake. Okay. Wow. Really weird. So in this case, what I'll do is I'll take out the filter, shake it out. Maybe I'll take it to the sink, wash it out. What happens is that the grinds get, I don't know if you can see this, these nozzles here that get clogged. I've never had to go in there with like a pipe cleaner or anything, but it might be helpful in some circumstances. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, now it's flowing perfectly. So I'm really glad that happened. That's the kind of games you need to play. Make sure the pump is primed by putting water through the wand. Make sure nothing's clogged up on the filter. And now I know it's flowing. So now I can take these espresso shot glasses and fill those up. What this does is this brings the water temperature down from the steam to the right temperature. And of course you saw it makes sure that everything's working properly, and it warms the shot glasses, which is nice too. Just a good idea. Mine doesn't flow evenly, so I gotta kind of move the shot glass over to fill it. Okay, now they're both full. I'm going to dump them out. Okay, so this is ready to go, and this metal has also been warmed by this process, which is also good. You want the whole system to be a nice temperature. Gonna grab a spoon. So I've got some coffee. You want the finest grinds you can get away with. Because it's this metal filter, it doesn't have to be espresso grind. You can use a coarser grind, but the finer the grind is, the better I find it works and it tastes just stronger. But like I said, it'll work with even a much coarser grind. Like if you buy coffee that's ground freezing with a coffee maker, it will work. So don't stress too much about that. Now I've got the coffee in here, and you want to pack it down. If you pack it down too hard, this machine just cannot handle it. It just can't push the water through at such a high pressure. It's not a professional grade machine. So you want to pack it down, but really lightly, just enough to kind of even it out. If you pack it too hard, you will know, because it won't work. And that's probably what happened. Someone used this machine right before me, and I bet they packed it too hard, and that's how this thing got clogged up. Okay, so now we got coffee in there. We have our warm espresso shot glasses, and it's time to make some coffee. As you can see, sometimes they don't fill evenly. And today they're pretty even. Sometimes you gotta swap it around and fill them both up. It is working like a champ. All right, making me look good. Well, this one's a little bit even. Okay. And now we have 2 espresso glasses filled. And we take our coffee cups full of hot water and dump them out. And put a shot in each. If that's, I generally use 2 shots. I think it tastes better, but that's up to you. So I'm gonna make 2 more shots. So we have 2 in each one. Here's, I took this off, and you can see that the coffee's in here. And I just gotta bang it into here, and it's clean. And then it's time for more. I don't generally clean it out in between. I don't usually have to, but if it gets clogged again, just go through that same process as before to get it all clean. All right. Once again, you want to get it full, but not too full. If you really get it too full, you really try to pack it, you won't even be able to get it on, or it just won't work well. So just don't overfill it. Just fill it till near the top, pack it down. It's all gonna work great. Doing my second round here. It's working nicely now. Videos will be going for almost 20 minutes. Like I said, it's not fast. We did a espresso party recently, and it took us like an hour. There's like 8 people here, so it's fun. It's just slow. Okay, so now I've got my shots. So I've got espresso shots in each glass. And I've got my milk. If you look at the thermometer of the milk, it's still green. Milk stays hot for a really long time. If you look at the directions for this espresso maker, it says to steam the milk first and then make the coffee, because the milk stays hot and the coffee won't. And it's like according to Starbucks Labs. I think they know. So thermometer, take it out. Got my milk. So what I do is I just pour a little liquid into each, back and forth. Then it's time, and I just have foam in the bottom. And I put foam into each. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Oh, let's see. Putting foam into each one. I mentioned this is oat milk, but it foamed really nicely. And There's a little bit of foam in the bottom. Scoop out with a spoon. If I do it with cow milk, it's way foamier. But not too bad, huh? And here is beautiful espresso drinks. Bang that out. Then we're going to turn off the machine. This is going to get dumped out of the sink. Like I mentioned, I unplugged mine. You probably should too. This is the water tank. I'm going to dump that out. Dry it out. And same with the coffee filter. If you want to, like I said, separate, take the filter out, and wash these both best you can. And now, that's it. Enjoy your coffee. Bye, everyone.